button to the spine, like we normally do. Knees hip width apart with a slight micro bend. Always pulling that belly button in, tucking your tailbone under, pubic bone, hip bone, completely vertical, shoulders down your back pockets. Remember, keep those shoulders lengthened down so you create space between your ears and your shoulders. And you're going to hold on to your shoulders today, and you're going to start some shoulder rolls, holding on to your shoulders. Now I'm drawing a perfect circle with my elbows now. I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together, opening up my chest. Now, if you want to progress, as you do one circle, tiptoes, and soles your feet. Remember to squeeze your shoulder blades together, open up your chest. Pulling my belly button to the spine, it really does help with your balance. We do one more, and we're going to come in the opposite direction. Now, some of you might want to challenge yourself and stay on your tiptoes. Focus on a point out in front, something that's not moving as you're circling your shoulders and back to center. Now, interlace your fingers behind your back, squeeze your palms together, lengthening your arms down your back. You're going to bring your hands over to the right, squeezing your shoulder blades together. Can you see what I'm doing with my elbow there? Squeezing my shoulder blades together and tilting my head over to the right. And feel like your head's being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head, feeling a deep stretch in the muscles in the neck and the shoulders. And back to center. Lengthen your arms down your back, squeezing your shoulder blades together and your palms. And we're coming over to the left. Squeeze together. Can you see what I'm doing with my elbow? Bring it behind me and tilt your head over to the left. And feel like someone's pulling your head. So I feel a deep stretch in the muscles of my neck and my shoulders. And back to center. Just roll it out. We're just going to come down to the roll down, that Pilates stance. We're going to pick up the band. So if you can be in Pilates stance, hold on to your hips, micro bend in the knees and hinge forward. So really stick out the bottom and feel like you're being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head. Sticking out that bottom, feeling a deep stretch here, really feeling the stretch, pull the belly button to the spine. Some of you might want to hold on to your thighs, or some of you will let the top of your body hang as you come down to the floor. Some of you might want to carry on holding on to your thighs, pick up the band as you lengthen out to the right, up to the ceiling, pushing into the heels, tailbone up to the ceiling, push into those heels. You feel a deeper stretch in the muscles in the back of your legs and lengthen back to center. Out to the left or up to the ceiling. You're rotating your upper spine. See if your head can follow your hands. You're rotating your upper spine, not your pelvis. And lengthen back to center. Let the top of your body hang. Squeeze your bottom, your glutes, pull your belly button to the spine, C-curve your spine. It's okay to restack your spine, holding onto your thighs for support. And back to center. We're up into mountain. Come up onto your tiptoes, only if you want to. Gluing your ankles together will challenge your balance. Mountain. Prayer. Prayer in your hands together, arms in line with your ears. Mountain. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, open up your chest, lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Prayer. And back down to center. Now, regular stance, you're holding on to a tray of drinks, elbows tucked into your rib cage. Now, we're going to do a little bit of dumb waiter. Don't have the band too slack, and we're going to balance at the same time. So if you step your left foot forward, just taking some pressure out your big toe, or some of you might want to float up your knees, up to you. Balance, elbows tucked into your ribcage, and we open up our prayer drinks. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, open up the chest, and back to center. Some of you might want to float your leg a little bit higher. Can you see? Keep those elbows tucked into your ribcage. Open, I'm feeling the opening from my shoulders, shoulder joints, squeezing my shoulder blades back to center. Dumb waiter. Let's do a couple more. Then we balance on the other side. Some of you might want to try and lengthen out your leg. Focus on a point out in front, something that's not moving. Let's swap over, left, right leg steps forward. We're opening up our prayer drinks. Keep those elbows tucked into your rib cage. My palms are up to the ceiling. And I'm really squeezing my shoulder blades together. Let's do one more. Some of you might want to try and lengthen out your leg. Keep those elbows tucked into your rib cage. Now this one's a really good one to release tension. So opening and closing like that releases tension if you've got shoulder and neck tension. It's a really good one to do for 5 minutes. And back to center. Drop your band. You're going to be slightly wider than hip width apart. You hold on to your hips. You lengthen your left arm up to the ceiling. Squeeze the bottom, pull your belly button to the spine, and feel the deep stretch in your waist and your hips. Some of you might want to go a little bit further, lengthen your right arm down your leg. Squeeze the glutes and lengthen back to center. We'll do one more. Hold on to your hip, level 1. Level 2, lengthening your arm down your thigh. I'm not bending my arm, I'm lengthening, squeezing my glutes, pulling my belly button to the spine, and squeeze back to center. We'll do the other side. Right arm up and over. So I feel like I'm being pulled by a piece of string. Stick out your hip, feeling a lovely deep stretch in my hips, my waist. Holding will always strengthen. Holding a stretch. Progression is lengthening that arm. The hand down your thigh. And I'm being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head and lengthen back to center. Just roll it out and we'll come down to the mat. So if you're going to step down to the mat, we're going to do a little bit of spine twist today and turn it into a saw. So I'm going to sit on my block for a nice neutral pelvis. Now, either I'm going to show you the 2 different levels. It doesn't matter if your knees are bent a little bit, feel nice and comfortable. Sit on a block or a nice solid cushion, or maybe a book, and then you sit on a little flat cushion on top of the book. Now, either prayer, I'm going to show you what we're doing. Nose has to stay in line with the middle of your chest. We're rotating to the right, I'm just showing you. And you're lengthening opposite hand to opposite baby toe. So you either do it at prayer, if you have some shoulder issues, I want you to stay at prayer, or some of you, with or without a band, are going to go straight into lengthened arms, keeping those arms lengthened at all time, always keeping your nose between your chest. I'm going to take you through the progressions. Prayer, nose stays in the middle of my chest. My thumb is on my sternum, my forefinger is just underneath my chin. Take a breath in, I lengthen, pull the belly button to the spine, over to my right, your right. See if you can rotate that torso a little bit more. Nose stays center of your chest. Opposite hand to opposite baby toe. I'm being pulled by a piece of string. You're meant to be sawing off your baby toe. Lengthen your arms away from each other. Back to center. Some of you will have extended arms at T. Over to the left. Lengthen up. Imagine you're a cork being pulled out of the bottle. Keep the nose in between the chest. And see if I can rotate a little bit more. Pull the belly button to the spine. And hand to opposite baby toe. Lengthen those arms away from each other. Don't take any weight out your seat bones. Keep the weight on that bottom. And back to center. Some of you have your arms lengthened with or without a band. Rotate. Nose stays between the chest. Don't over it. Rotate your head. Lengthen up. Lengthen. Trying to get my head on the ceiling. And I keep my arm lengthened, hand to opposite baby toe. Being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head. And back to center. Over to the left. Nose stays between my chest, lengthen up, pull the belly button to the spine, hand to opposite baby toe, lengthen the arms away from each other. Being pulled by a piece of string, Feeling the deep stretch in the muscles in the back of my legs, and I'm elongating my spine. And back to center. We're going to come off our block, and we're just going to slowly roll down. So you know how it works, either with the assistance of your band, have a nice strong band if you feel you roll down very quickly, either holding onto your band, level 1, 2, or 3. So lengthen up. I'm going to start at level 2. Relax the feet and legs, lengthen up, pull your belly button to the spine. Lean back by an inch, and then scoop the pelvis and slowly roll down, very slowly. Pull the belly button to the spine, really tuck the tailbone under. I'm trying to turn my spine into a wheel. Relax feet, relax legs. Slowly, slowly. Don't look at your elbows. If you're at level 2 or 3, squeeze the glutes, pull the belly button to the spine, slowly, slowly. And when you get down to the mat, hug your knees to your chest and rock from side to side, crossing your ankles, pulling your knees apart. Some of you might want to do the progression, which is your rollover. Part your legs, but this is a progression. If not, just hug your knees to your chest. Now keep on hugging the left leg, lengthen the right leg away. Really hug the knee to the chest, lengthen through the hip joint. Really relax the muscles. Relax, relax. Bring the knee slightly out to the left, thigh skims your rib cage. Then hold on to your hamstring, calf muscle, your ankle. Make sure you have a block under your head. Push into your heel. And start circling the ankle one way and then the other. Progression. Some of you might want to lengthen and lift your head and shoulders. This is a progression. Any tension in the neck, keep your head and shoulders on the mat. Head always on the block. Bend the knee, lengthen it away, bring up the right knee. Lengthen through the hip joint and really relax. Lengthen and relax. Deepens the stretch. Bring the right knee slightly out to the side, thigh skims your rib cage. Hold on to your hamstring, calf muscle, your ankle. Push into your heel and start circling the ankle one way and then the other. Some of you might want to lengthen and lift your head and shoulders. Remember, it's a progression. It's just layering, a little bit more deep core work. Bring the right knee to tabletop, balancing your drinks on your shins. Tee your arms. Any shoulder issues, bring your arms slightly closer to your thighs. Relax, bring the right knee over to the left. You can put a little bit of pressure on your knee if you want to, and look in the opposite direction. Keep those shoulders glued to the mat. The aim is to get your knee as close to the mat as possible. Rotation of the spine. Keep the left leg lengthened. Relax the foot and relax the leg. And bring your knee back to center. Feeling it in the glutes, feeling it in the deep core muscles, and switch over. Left leg over to the right, look in the opposite direction. You can put a little bit of pressure on your knee if you want to, just to get your knee closer to the mat. You don't have to. Shoulders glued to the mat. Take a breath in as you breathe out. Relax the foot and leg and bring your knee back to center. Totally switch off the muscles in the legs and squeeze the glutes, pull the belly button to the spine. And you can feel it's your deep core muscles that brings your knee back to center and back into supine. Before we take our block away, we're doing a pelvic clock, and then we're going to turn it into a bridge just for a nice deep stretch. Now, in between your hip bones, you have a marble. Sorry, we're not doing pelvic clock today, we're doing north and south. So in between your hip bones, you have a marble. And now you're going to roll the marble to your belly button to north. And then you're going to roll the marble all the way to your pubic bones south. Can you see I'm flaring up my rib cage, arching my spine? And then I'm going to imprint my spine and roll the marble all the way to my belly button, pulling my belly button to the spine. So I've taken a couple of vertebrae off the mat here. I've imprinted my spine, rolling the marble to my pubic bone side. Can you see I'm now arching my spine? So we're going from north to south. I'm at north, imprinting my whole spine, and then I'm really arching my spine, sticking out my rib cage to south. We'll do that a couple more times. North, south. Really arch that spine, really mobilizing the pelvis. And now roll the marble in between your hip joints. Remove your block. Make sure your feet are close to your seat bones. Push into your heels. Squeeze your glutes. Lengthen your knees away. Hips up to the ceiling. Some of you might be doing this on one leg. Is up to you. And we're going to do 4 little steps with our feet without dropping your bottom or rocking your hips. After 4 steps, lengthen your arms up to the ceiling or maybe over your head. Lengthen your knees away from each other. Lengthen your arms away from each other. And 4 steps. Now, if you're just doing this on one leg, you're going to step up and down. 4 steps. Keep the arms lengthened over your head, tucking your pelvis. And I'm slowly rolling down my vertebrae, scooping my pelvis, because I want every single vertebrae to hit the mat, keeping the arms lengthened over my head, and then lengthen my arms back to center. 1 more. Some of you are now going to roll up on the opposite leg. Rest of us, soles your feet on the mat. Squeeze glutes, push into your heels. Lengthen your knees away, squeeze the glutes, lift those hips up to the ceiling. And I'm tucking my tailbone under, protecting my lumbar spine. 4 little steps. Don't drop the bottom. Can you see I'm staying in alignment? Lengthen the arms up to the ceiling, maybe over your head. Staying in alignment, don't drop the bottom. Lengthen the knees and arms away from each other. 4 steps. If you're on one leg, you're going to come up to the ball of your foot, then down to your heel. 4 steps, and we slowly roll down. Keep the arms lengthened over the head as much as you can. When your vertebrae gets down to the mat, you lengthen your arms back to center. Put the block back behind your head and back into supine. Now, if you grab your band, you don't have to have a loop band around your thighs. Some of you might want a loop band around your thighs because we're doing the 1 leg circle. Now you're going to float your left knee up to tabletop. Relax the foot. And a pencil shoots out from your knee. And you're going to start drawing a perfect circle on the ceiling, as big as possible without disturbing your pelvis. So that pencil shoots out from my knee, and I'm drawing a perfect, nice big circle without moving without moving the main trunk of my body, especially my pelvis. Bowel soup is on my pelvis. Take the pressure out of that supporting right foot. Take the pressure out of it. Feel it in the core. Now, if you want to progress, you lengthen the leg up to the ceiling. And you're drawing a perfect circle. Now, can you see if you want to progress further, you lengthen out your right leg. So you choose the level that's good for you. Try and relax the foot. Relax the leg, and it's heavy in the hip. Feeling it in my core, feeling it in my quads. Nice big circles. Come in the opposite direction. Relax the foot and leg. And circle from the hip joint. The more you relax that foot and leg and circle from the hip joint, heavy stirring of porridge, the more you're using your core. Let's do a couple more. It's meant to say, you choose the arm position, that's good for you if you want to progress. Let's just do 1 more. Oh, glutes are up, my quads are on fire, the muscles in the front of my legs. I can feel that in my core. Hug your knees to your chest and rock from side to side unless you want to do your Joseph Pilates classic rollover. We're going to do the other leg. Bring the right knee up to tabletop. Relax the foot, relax the leg. Pencil shoots out from your knee. Remember, choose the arm position, that's good for you. And I'm going to start drawing a perfect circle on the ceiling. Imagine you're lying on grains of sand, and the grains of sand are not moving under the main trunk of your body. Relax the foot, big, big circle. Some of you might want to progress and have a nice extended leg. Relax the foot and leg. Visualize all the movement from your hip joints. It makes a big difference. So I'm really visualizing all the movement coming from my hip joint. Some of you might want to lengthen that supporting leg, but don't push down on that foot or that leg, the supporting leg or foot. Don't push down on it. Take some pressure away from it. Did I say opposite direction? I can't remember. Opposite direction. Choose the arm position. That's good for you. Lengthening those arms up to the ceiling will always be a progression. Over your head, a further progression. Feeling that in the quads and the deep core muscles. One more. And hug your knees to your chest and rock from side to side. Or you might want to do your classic Joseph Pilates rollover. Take off the band. Now, some of you might have weights, or you can use your resistance band or nothing at all. We're doing dead bug fly. This is a brain trainer as well. Now, I'm going to lengthen my left leg away as I lengthen my right arm out to the side. Can you see? Bowl of soup on my pelvis, doesn't move, total stability. Back to center. So left arm flying out to the side as I lengthen my right leg away. Again, grains of sand under the main trunk of your body. Take the pressure out of the soles of your feet. You're on thin ice. Left leg lengthened, right arm out to the side. You can have weights in your hand. Oops, even I'm doing it wrong. Right leg, left arm. So you choose if you want to use small equipment. Lengthen, lengthen through the joints. Let's see if we can hold it for at least 2 to 3 seconds as you lengthen. Take the pressure out of the soles of the feet and that extended leg. You're on thin ice. Lengthen, hold for 2, 1 at least, or maybe 3 seconds. And really lengthen. Progression. Tabletop. Left leg lengthened, right arm out to the side. Lengthen. Remember, the length comes from the joints, hip joints, shoulder joints. Relax the feet. Lengthen. Relax the legs. That is burning my core. Lengthen. Hold for a few seconds. Remember, you can always try various levels. So you can try with the soles of your feet on the floor, lengthening. Then you can come maybe up to tabletop for a couple, and then come back down. Always can go up and down levels. Hold it, lengthen. Let's do one more either side. Take the pressure out the soles of the feet. It's amazing. As soon as you take that pressure out the soles of the feet, I totally switch on my core there. Lengthen. Hold. And then hug your knees to your chest and rock from side to side. See if you can cross the ankles, pulling your knees apart. Or some of you might do the Joseph Pilates rollover. It doesn't matter if your legs get to here. You're still using those deep core muscles. Part your legs as wide as they can go. Flex your feet, lower them without flaring out your rib cage. Hug your knees to your chest. Full body stretch. Pull your belly button to the spine, melt the rib cage into the mat, and lengthen. Lengthen your toes and fingers away from each other. And then when you're ready, we'll roll over to the side, and we're going to do a classic Side kick. So some of you might want to put the band around your thighs, but none of you don't have to have equipment. Just use the weight of your body. You choose. Side kick. So we're lying in one straight line. So you choose the arm position that's good for you. You can lie on your arm with a little cushion underneath your ear. Some of you might find it more comfortable to put your head on your hand. Progression, you come up onto your elbow. This makes it so much harder. But I'm going to take you through the progressions. Now, one straight line. All of us bring our legs out by about 40 centimetres, 30, 40 centimetres. So the top of my body is one straight line, shoulders down my back pockets, my legs are out by 40 centimetres. We're doing side kick. So you lengthen and lift your leg to hip height, relax the leg, relax the foot, and you're going to flex your foot forward, pulse, pulse, and sweep your leg across the table, pulse, pulse. Flex your foot forward, pulse, pulse, sweep your leg with a soft point. Can you see I'm pointing my toes? Pulse, pulse, flex forward, pulse, pulse, sweeping my leg across the table. Pulse, pulse, side kick, flex forward. We're going to change it up in a minute. And lengthen, open up the hip flexors. Pulse, pulse. Top of my body doesn't move at all. Total stability. Really feel that in my glutes. You're going to be using your deep core muscles to maintain that stability. Pulse, pulse, flex in my foot forward, flex forward, pulse, pulse. Soft points, so I'm lengthening through the joints. Pulse, pulse. Flex forward, pulse, pulse. And then you're going to come to hip height. Your legs are in alignment. You're closing. Now you're going to push into your heel. If it's too uncomfortable, leave your foot nice and relaxed. Push into your heel. We're going to lengthen and lift, keeping your thighs in alignment. Pulse for 3, 2, 1, and lengthen back to center, pushing into your heel. Now, if it's too uncomfortable to push into your heel, just let your foot relax. And pulse for 3, 2, 1. Push into the heel. My glutes are on fire now. And my top leg meets my bottom leg. Lengthen and lift as high as it can go. Total stability of the main trunk of your body. And back to center. At any stage, you can increase, you can progress. You might want to come up onto your elbow. Really burn my glutes now, pushing into my heel, lift up that waist. Let's just do one more. Pushing into that heel, pulse for 3, 2, 1. Lengthen back to center and just pat it out. So that really, I felt that in my glutes there, and you're going to be using your deep core muscles. So we're going to take it into bow and arrow today. So you might want to open up your bow and arrow with a weight, a band, or both. And we just get my weight. Or nothing at all. So you're lying on your side. It's really important you stay lying on the edge of your block. So my block's not like this. I'm on the edge of my block, so you roll your head onto your block. Now my arms are in front, palm to palm, and my knees are bent in front. I lengthen and lift that top leg diagonally across. And I lengthen my top arm longer than my bottom. I open up my bow and arrow. Hand comes across my arm, across my chest. Head follows my hand. And I lengthen my arms away from each other as I increase the range of motion of my leg. Close the book. Lengthen, slowly lengthen when you close the book, feeling that in my waist. And sweep my leg behind. Lengthen my top arm, longer than my bottom. Hand comes across my arm, tight across my chest. Head follows my hand. Open up my book and increase the range of motion of my leg. Don't drop the foot, keep it at hip height. So really working your glutes there. Relax the foot. Lengthen through the shoulder joints, the hip joint. Keep those limbs lengthened. Increasing the range of motion. And I'm lengthening my arm, back to center, lengthen. Keep the head on the block, really working my waist there as I lengthen back to center, sweeping my leg behind me, feeling I'm opening up the hip flexor, really working my glutes there. Bend your knee and back. We're going to go straight into bridge. So today's bridge is a fly. So we're going to remove our block. I'm just going to show you. So with or without a band or maybe weights, you're coming up into a fly. You're lengthening your arms up to the ceiling. We're flying one arm out to the side. And we're flying the other arm out to the side. Then we roll back down and our hands come back to center. So make sure your feet are closer to your seat bones. First of all, you can have your band tight around your hips as you push into your heels. Lengthen your knees away, squeeze the glutes. Some of you might want to come up onto your tiptoes. That's the progression. Lengthen your arms up to the ceiling, palm to palm. And I lengthen my left arm to the side. Don't drop your bottom or rock your hips. Back to center, shoulder width apart. Right arm lengthens out to the side, flying my arm out to the side and back to center. Tucking in the pelvis, C-curving the spine as we roll our spine, one vertebrae at a time, back to center. Now hands come back to center. We're going to keep on doing that. Push into the heels, lengthen the knees away, squeeze the glutes, hips up to the ceiling. Some of you might want to come up onto your tiptoes. Lengthen the arms up to the ceiling, palm to palm. With or without weights or a band, left arm out to the side. And back to center. Now, if you want to progress when your right arm comes out to the side, you might want to lengthen out your left leg, but this is really tricky. And back to center. Slowly roll down your vertebrae one at a time, and arm comes back to center. So we're going to keep on doing that. Pushing into the heels, squeezing your glutes, lengthen your knees away. Arms up to the ceiling. Left arm out to the side. Some of you might be lengthening your right leg. That is tricky though. And lengthen the right arm out to the side. Some of you might choose to lengthen your left leg. So we're doing dead bug fly when we do the bridge. Slowly re-scoot the pelvis. I'm trying to visualize every single vertebrae hitting the mat and back to center. Push into your heels. Lengthen your knees away. Squeeze the bottom. Lengthen the arms up to the ceiling. Left arm out to the side. I'm lengthening out my right leg, but it's a progression. It's really important I don't rock the hips or drop the bottom. Push into those heels. And then slowly roll down. We're going to all roll down together. And then you're going to hug your knees to your chest and rock from side to side. Pulling the knees apart, crossing the ankles, or some of you might want to progress and do your Joseph Pilates, classic rollover. Don't flare out the rib cage. Keep the rib cage melted into the mat. Full body stretch. Pull your belly button to the spine. Melt the rib cage into the mat. And when you're ready, we're going to roll to the other side. Slowly, slowly. We've been on the mat for a while now. We're going to start with our side kick. Nice straight line. Lengthen that top leg away. Pull the belly button to the spine. We bring our legs out by about 40 centimeters. So we're going to start with a side kick. Choose the arm position. That's good for you. So I lengthen and lift. Thighs in alignment. Flex my foot. Pulse forward. Pulse, pulse. Sweep my leg behind me with a soft point. Pulse, pulse. Flex forward. Pulse, pulse. Sweep my leg behind me, soft point. Pulse, pulse. Really feel I'm opening the hip flexor. Keep that leg at hip height. Sweep the leg across the table. Keep on lengthening through the hip joint. Sweep. Top of my body is not moving one little bit. As I sweep my leg behind me, I'm not leaning forward. I'm remaining completely stable. As I pulse my foot in front, I'm not leaning backwards. So top of your body doesn't move at all. We're going to do one more and then we're going to change it up. Bring your leg back to center, thighs in alignment, rest your leg, pat it out. Now you're going to flex your foot and push into your heel as you lengthen and lift, keeping your thighs in alignment, and you pulse for 3, 2, 1, and lengthen back to center. If it's too uncomfortable pushing into your heel, just keep your leg relaxed, lengthening through the hip joint. Or you can choose to push into your heel. 3, 2, 1, glutes are on fire. You choose the arm position that's good for you. 3, 2, 1, lengthen back to center. 3, 2, 1, top of the body doesn't move. Let's just do a couple more. 3, 2, 1, one more. 3, 2, 1, glutes are on fire, but you're really using your deep core muscles as well. Just pat it out. We go straight into our bow and arrow. Lying on the edge of your block. You have your band, your weight, or both, or nothing at all. Make sure your head stays on the block. Always your head stays on the block. Lengthen and lift the top leg diagonally across. If you feel too tired, you can keep that leg just rested. You don't have to incorporate it. So I lengthen my top arm longer than my bottom, and I open up my back bow and arrow. Keep that leg at hip height so you increase your range of motion. Close your book, lengthen, lengthen, sweeping your leg behind. Hand comes up tight across my arm, tight across my chest. Open up my bow and arrow. Lengthen those arms away from each other and try to get that leg a little bit higher. Pull the belly button to the spine, lengthen back to center. Don't take the head off the block. Let's do one more. And lengthen. Back to center. Hold. And bend and just pat it out. So we're going to go straight into prone now. For those who have issues in prone, you're going to be in 4-point kneeling. Make sure you're stacked, lengthen out your opposite leg and arm. Hold for at least 2 to 3 seconds. Bring your leg and arm out to 45 degrees. Hold for 2 to 3 seconds. Back to center, hold, and back down to the mat. Where the rest of us, we're lying in prone. Your feet are mat width apart. You push your pubic bone into the mat. Pull your belly button to the spine. Now, having your feet mat width apart protects your lumbar spine. It is okay to glue your legs together. It just puts a little bit more pressure on your lumbar spine. So I'm now at capital E. So my elbows are in line with my shoulders. I'm at capital E. We're doing a version of the swan. So with or without a band, push your pubic bone into the mat, pull your belly button to the spine. I'm going to roll the marble forward with my nose, squeeze your glutes, pull your belly button to the spine, and I lengthen and lift my head and sternum. Look down at the mat. want to push into your hands and back to center. Take a breath in, as you breathe out, you just lengthen and lift your head and sternum. Look down in the mat. Feel like someone's pulling you from the crown of the head. You really lengthen forward and back to center. Now you're trying to push into the top of your feet. They stay glued to the mat. Progression. As I lengthen and lift my head and sternum, squeeze the glutes, and I just float my left arm, squeeze the glutes. It doesn't matter if your left arm raised by maybe 1 centimetre, it doesn't matter. And back to center. Lengthen and lift, head and sternum, right arm lifts. As does my head and sternum. Now, we're going to do that from side to side. You're not floating up your feet. Lengthen and lift your head and sternum, left arm lifts. Now, progression is you lengthen out the left arm. You come back to capital E. I'm squeezing my glutes, pulling my belly button to the spine, and back to center. Lengthen and lift my head and sternum. Float up my right arm. Lengthen out my right arm. Lengthen, lengthen. Squeeze your glutes, pull your belly button to the spine. Bend my arm back to capital E and back to center. All of this can be done with a band. So you choose the level that's good for you. Final progression, double arm lift. Arms are at T, lengthen both arms away from each other. Capital E, back down to the mat. So you choose the level that's good for you. So either you might just be lengthening, lifting your head and sternum only. Look down in the mirror, you're being pulled by a piece of string. Progression, float up your left arm, back down to the mat. Then your right. Further progression, float up your head and sternum, float up that capital E arm. You lengthen out the arm, squeezing your glutes, pull your belly button to the spine. Bend the arm and back to center. Let's do our final one either side, or your final 2 double arm lifts. And you lengthen those arms away at T. One more. Everyone come down to the mat, your arms at capital E, and rock your hips from side to side, just releasing any tension you hold in the lumbar spine. Now, I want you to come into a Sphinx pose. So, no, that's wrong. Let me just, oh no, come into diamond. It's something slightly different we're doing today. So my hands are at diamond, and I'm resting my head on my diamond hands. You're going to lengthen and lift your head and sternum, being pulled by a piece of string, and you're going to look over to the left, and then you're going to look over to the right, squeezing your glutes, pulling your belly button to the spine. So can you see I've lengthened and lifted my head and sternum, being pulled by a piece of string, look down in the mirror. I'm going to really look over to the left, looking past my left arm, and I'm going to keep my head and sternum floating as I look over to the right side. So I can really feel I'm using the muscles in my back and back to center. Capital E again. Just rock your hips from side to side, releasing any tension, and we're going to turn it into the lizard. So I roll the marble forward, lengthen and lift my head and sternum, chest out to the sun, shoulders down my back pockets. Push into your left hand, fully extend your left arm if you can. Look over your left shoulder, try to look at your left foot, right elbow glued to the mat, try to bend your right knee. And back to center. Lovely deep stretch in the muscles in the back. Roll the marble forward with your nose, chest out to the sun. Shoulders in your back pockets. Push into the right arm. Fully extend the right arm. Look over your right shoulder. Look at your right foot. If not, look at your right glutes. Left elbow glued to the mat. Bend the left knee if you can. Really look over your shoulder, your right shoulder, see if you can see your glutes. And back to center. You can all push into both hands and see if you can come up into your full cobra. Some of you might be able to put your hands underneath your shoulders for a deeper spinal extension. Pelvis needs to stay glued to the mat. Everyone comes down to the mat. Then you're going to push into your hands and you're going to come up to a cat and a cow. So make sure you're stacked. You stick out your bottom, lengthen your head forward, keeping your shoulders in your back pockets, creating space between your ears and your shoulders. Round and curl your spine. Push into your palms, squeeze your glutes, pull your belly button to the spine. Some of you might want to tuck your toes under, so you float up your knees by 1 to 2 centimeters, no more. Staying in cat. This one's called turbo cat. Knees come down. Some of you might want to stay in turbo cat as the rest of us come into cow. Sticking out the bottom, lengthening the head forward. One more cat, pushing into your palms, squeezing your glutes. Some of you will tuck your toes under and float your knees. A little bit more core work, but still stretching the muscles in the spine and back to center. So we're doing 4-point kneeling, and today's 4-point kneeling is, what was my 4-point kneeling today? Flying our arms. So we lengthen one leg and we fly our arm out to the side. And then we swap over. It doesn't matter if you cannot get your leg and arm up to hip height. It's okay if you lengthen leg and arm out, just taking a bit of pressure out your leg, out your toes and your fingers. Doesn't matter. The aim is shoulder height, hip height. So I want those who struggle on their knees, you're going to be in your swimming position, lengthening out your leg and arm, lengthen and lift, opposite leg and arm. Bring your left arm out to fly, back to lengthened and back down to the mat. Opposite leg and arm, right arm out to fly, back to that swimming position and back down to the mat. The rest of us, we're flying at 4-point kneeling, with or without a band. So I lengthen my right leg, left leg out to the side. Sorry, left arm out to the side. We're going to hold for at least 2 to 3 seconds and back to center. Swap over. Left leg, right arm out to the side. Lengthen through the joints as much as you can. Relax your foot. Back to center. Visualize you have that ball on your lumbar spine. Total stability. Lengthen. Pull the belly button to the spine. Maybe you might want to hold for longer than 2 to 3 seconds. You might want to hold for maybe 5 to 6 seconds. Don't want to wobble at all. You want to progress, put that band in your hand. Now, it doesn't matter. Can you see I'm just taking pressure out my fingers and my toes? That's okay. You just come to the level that's good for you. It's all about absolute stability. Lengthen, hold. Really challenge yourself. I find sometimes it's good to actually balance the ball on my lumbar spine. Makes me work harder. Let's just do one more either side. We're all going to come into a child's pose. Lengthen through the joints, really lengthen. Going to be working so many deep core muscles there to maintain that stability. Slowly back to center, glue your big toes together, knees mat width apart if you can, and come into a child's pose. Rest your forehead on the mat and rock from side to side. Your forehead just to get your breath back. Push your chest into the mat. You're going to walk your hands over to 10 o'clock and your right hand sits on your left. Try to sit on your heels, but still walk those hands away, especially the right hand, so you feel a lovely deep stretch down the right side. Push the chest into the mat. Walk over to 12. Then walk over to 2. Left hand sits on right. Keep on walking that left hand away. Really feel that deep stretch down the left side. Really try to sit on those heels. And back to 12 o'clock. Now we're going to really see curve our spine. Pull the belly button to the spine. So you're coming up into a cat stretch. And back to 4-point kneeling. We're going to do a thread the needle with or without a band, and with or without incorporating the leg. Make sure you're stacked. Hips are over your knees, shoulders are over your palms, your hands. Lengthen your right arm out to the side, maybe up to the ceiling. Keeping space between your ear and your shoulder. Hips stacked over your knees. And lengthen, lengthen, don't bend the arm yet, back to the mat. Then you thread your right arm under your left, lengthen that right arm away, then try to touch the shoulder on the mat midline, pushing into your left hand, really rotating that upper spine. Hips are set and staying. Some of you might want to lengthen or maybe lift the left leg, keep the hips nice and flat, and then swing the left leg out to the side. Or some of you might want to try and just swing that left leg out to the side, keeping it straight as you can. So you one thread out to the side or up to the ceiling. And then lengthen, lengthen, back to center. We'll do the other side. Make sure you're stacked. Left arm out to the side, up to the ceiling. I'm pushing into that right hand. Knees stay stacked. If I do that, I'm not stacked. I've got to make sure my hips, stay stacked over my knees. Lengthen back to center, lengthen. Because of my band, I can feel I'm really working my waist, so still toning there. Left arm, threads underneath right. Walk that right arm away before my shoulder hits the mat midline. Push into my right hand. Some of you might want to lengthen or lengthen and lift the right leg. Swing your right leg out to the side. Maybe give it a go. As you unthread the left arm, push into that supporting hand. Open up the chest. And lengthen, lengthen, back to center. Bring the leg in. We come to seated. We slowly roll down and stretch it out. If you're feeling a little bit too fatigued, just roll down on the side and get back down onto the mat. Or you're going to make the most of every single minute and slowly roll down again with the assistance of the band. You know how it works, or level 1, 2, or 3. Really slowly lengthen up, lean back, tapping your pelvis, relax the feet and legs. Pull that belly button to the spine. Especially as you breathe out, really pull the belly button to the spine. Give it a go. Pull the belly button to the spine. You can really feel you're switching on those deep muscles, deep core muscles. When you get down to the mat, hug your knees to the chest and rock from side to side, or do your final Joseph Pilates classic rollover. As I will say, it doesn't, I've been doing this a long time, so I can get over quite far, but it doesn't matter if you come by a few inches. Then you part your legs, flex your feet. And over the weeks, you'll just get stronger and stronger. Now, if you grab your band, put the band underneath the arch of your right foot. Left leg can be bent or lengthened, depending on your flexibility. Push into the heel. Hug that lengthened leg to the chest. Relax the foot. Tee the left arm. Really relax that leg and lengthen through the hip joint as you swing your leg out to the right. Try not to rely on the band. Use your deep core muscles to do the work. I'm squeezing my glutes, melting my rib cage into the mat. Pulling my belly button to the spine and lengthen back to center. I'm not tugging on the band, that's all in my core. Band in the left hand to your right. Look in the opposite direction. And lengthen back to center. Lengthen, lengthen, feeling that in the glutes. Swap over. Push into the heel. Nice deep stretch in the muscles in the back of my leg. Relax the foot to the right. Drop the foot out to the left. Lengthen. Relax the foot and lengthen. Pull the belly button to the spine. Squeeze the glutes as you lengthen back to center. To the left. Keep those shoulders glued to the mat. And lengthen back to center. Drop the band with stretched piriformis. Left ankle on right thigh. Hugging the knee to the chest and really relax the right foot. Hugging the knee to the chest. We're going to try something different today. So you're going to tee your arms. Your foot drops down to the mat and your left foot comes over to the right. Now, only if you want to, you can just hug that bottom knee to your chest to get a deeper stretch, only if you want to. So my left foot is dropped over to the right. And then come back to center. We'll do the other side. Right ankle on left thigh. Hug your knee to your chest, relax that left foot. Feeling a lovely deep stretch in the right glute. I'm going to drop my foot on the mat, tee my arms, and my right foot comes over to the left. Can you see my bottom leg, my left leg? I'm hugging it to my chest. So if it feels uncomfortable, don't follow me. You can just keep it here. But if you can hug your knee to your chest for a little bit more of a deeper stretch. Bring your leg back and then just come back to center. You just remove your block and grab your ball. We're going to just press into the ball for 8. Just releasing tension, we hold in the head, neck and shoulders. Remember your chin tuck, your double chin. Take a breath in as you breathe out, double chin, pushing into the ball and breathe. And release. And again, take a breath in. As you breathe out, you push. And release. One more. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, you push. And release. Just gently roll your head from left to right. Really relax the muscles in your neck. Rolling from left to right and see if you can deepen the stretch in the muscles in your neck. And back to center. Just focus on your breath. And when you're ready, if you gently roll to the side, getting yourself to seated in your own time. I'm going to sit on my block just to get that neutral spine. I'm going to lengthen up, pull my belly button to the spine. I'm going to stay weighted on my seat bones as I lengthen my arm up and over. Really don't bend the arm, keep it nice and lengthened. Feeling a deep stretch in my waist. Keep the weight in your seat bones. And lengthen forward, look down at the mat. Keep lengthen, feeling a lovely deep stretch across the muscles in my back. And back to my waist and hips. Pull the belly button to the spine and lengthen back to center. The other side. Stay weighted in those seat bones. That you don't want to come off your seat bones, it weakens the stretch. And lengthen forward, look down at the mat. Nice deep stretch down one side of my back to my waist and the hips. Open up the chest. Pull the belly button to the spine and lengthen back to center. We're going to come to 4-point kneeling. Tuck your toes under. We're going to roll up, and you might want to roll up with your weights if you want to. So Pilates stance, gluing your heels together, pushing into your heels, tailbone up to the ceiling, little bend in the knees. Let the top of your body hang. You can hold on to your thighs if you want to. Squeeze the glutes, pull the belly button to the spine, roll up your spine. You're protecting your lumbar spine by squeezing the glutes and really pulling that belly button to the spine. And back to center. A few arm circles. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, open up the chest. Some of you might want to come onto your tiptoes, soles of your feet. Or some of you will stay on your tiptoes. Focus on a point out in front. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Pull your belly button to the spine. Final one. Soles of your feet. And thank you.